Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Ift. I am talking to you. I'm back. I'm back from Australia. I made it back. No quarantine, no travel restrictions, no border closures. I wasn't with Tom Hanks. I made it home, and I'm recording from my home, where apparently I might be for a while. Who knows? We're living in some crazy times right now with this, what's going on with the coronavirus, or COVID-19 as it's called. And I recorded an episode yesterday at my house with a good friend, Mike Catherwood, who is I can't say enough about Mike. He's an incredible radio, television, podcasting personality, but he's also a former bodybuilder, power lifter, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai athlete, does everything, and incredible guy. A long time ago, CrossFitter, back in the heyday, like in the beginning. The guy's done it all. So we had an incredible conversation. Mike's one of the best to talk to about anything, any subject, anytime. So we had a really interesting conversation. We didn't discuss COVID or Corona at all. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I know as much as you guys know, but there's a possibility that I could be spending a lot more time at home. So with that happening, who knows? Maybe I'll do some extra episodes. I like to stay busy, so maybe switch to twice a week. Who knows? And maybe doing some. I try to always bring you episodes with the guest live, but if I don't travel, might have to start using them, doing them through Skype. So I know it's very important to me that I do live episodes, but who knows? Things might have to change. A little social distancing, as they're calling it. But who knows? Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the show. I guess I want the show to be a good distraction for you. I know my buddy Hunter McIntyre's doing some really good posts on his page. If you're one of those people that's practicing social distancing or can't is in an area, maybe around the world somewhere where you're kind of on lockdown, Hunter will give you some places to work out. Now's the time more than ever to be healthy. You want to be healthy. You want to take care of you want to exercise, you want to sleep a lot, and you want to eat well, and you also want to get yourself the right diet. I can't express how important it is to be taking the right nutrients in, the right minerals, the right vitamins, and also, if you're someone who's sick, you want to make sure you're hydrating, and so make sure you stay on top of that. I just had my dad drinking O2. My dad needs his electrolytes, and I recommend my dad's 84 years old, and I got him to go to Whole Foods and get himself some O2 recovery, because I think there's no better way of getting those electrolytes into your body, the sodium, potassium that you need. And I love O2. It's I used it after my race. I used it during my race. It's O2's a non-carbonated flavored recovery drink, and when I say flavored, it's all natural flavors. So I forget what they use, if it's monk fruit or stevia. I think it's stevia, but whatever it is, it's delicious. It's the best out there. So it's got no sugar, or very low sugar, and they have good news now. They're available in Sprouts, and you find them in the energy drink aisle, although I wouldn't call them an energy drink, although they do have caffeine in them, but it's a natural caffeine. So the natural caffeine is going to release slower and also not give you the jitters. And they also have a new brand. They've got O2 plus CBD. CBD is the rage now because of all the benefits that you can get from CBD. So O2 now has 10 milligrams of CBD in there. It's O2 plus CBD. So you have to look which ones. There's ones with caffeine, without caffeine, and they've got the one with CBD in it, which I've tried, which tastes great, and it can give you that calming effect you need. So, especially after a hard workout. So if you're a gym owner and you've never tried O2, you got to try it. You got to contact O2 because they're going to give you 48 free cans if you come on as an O2 affiliate. And I've been to some gyms that sell it there at the gym. It sells incredibly well. It's great after workout. It's great. I drink them all day long. My daughter drinks them. So if you want to get involved and be an affiliate and make the drink accessible to your members, email them at wholesale@drinko2.com. That's wholesale@drinko2.com. And make sure you put in the subject line WODcast, and they're going to throw in some T-shirts for you and your coaches. Okay, so that's wholesale@drinko2.com, and check them out online. Order them. They've got them in Whole Foods. They've got them in Sprouts now. Trust me, you'll love it. It's delicious, and it's good. It's the same as a saline bag. So that's the kind of electrolytes you're putting back in you, just what they would in the hospital. So and it's filled with oxygen too. They oxygenate the water. How good's that? Detoxifies your liver. All kinds of good things. So check them out. Drinko2.com. I totally forgot. I wanted to start the episode, but I also wanted to mention our Patreon. Our Patreon is what really is the lifeblood of this show. As I try to continue this show and do it during these weird times, I know it's a lot to ask you guys for a donation, but it's better than a donation because you're getting something out of it. If you give to the show and you give just $5 a week, you can get yourself what's called a myopux. It's an electronic muscle stimulator. You hook it up to any part of your body that you feel is injured, and it will pump blood into. It'll pump that muscle, which will then not damage the tissue and bring blood there to expedite the inflammatory process. What I mean by that is you need inflammation to heal any kind of injury you have. But the faster you can make that process go, the quicker you are going to get better. So if you keep moving that injured part of your body, you can re-injure it and continue to re-injure it. This way you're not moving the part. The muscles around it are moving by themselves, caused by the electronic muscle stimulator. So it's going to bring the good blood in. It's going to flush all the bad waste out into your lymphatic system. It's incredible. It's called a myopux. I use one myself so often. I feel like I live with it because I don't like to be injured ever. Anytime I have the littlest bit wrong with me, I hook it up. And then along with that, we will send you what's like a gua shui. It's called a Leopard Claw, and it's a metal bar, kind of curved bar that you use, and it's got an end on it, the side on it that is like it's kind of like a blade, but it's not that sharp, obviously. And you use it to scrape any kind of part of your body where there's injury, because after an injury, your fascia, scar tissues inside there, and you have these things called adhesions. Those adhesions restrict blood flow and don't allow the fascia to move or the muscle to move the way it's supposed to move smoothly. And so with all that clumping going on there, the blood doesn't go through, the muscle doesn't move the way it should, the fascia doesn't move the way it should, the skin across it. So you're not getting the blood in there correctly, and that creates more injury. So this way you scrape it, you get rid of those adhesions, and then the blood flows better, less injury, you heal faster, and it's a good thing to do right before you use your electronic muscle stimulator. Well, what I'm telling you is if you donate $5 to the show, just get in our Patreon. You donate $5. It's $5 a month. That's like $1 an episode. You could possibly win one of these. And you win one, and we send it out to you, and that's what you get. You get you get an electronic muscle stimulator and a Leopard Claw. I just brain farted right there. So make sure you sign up, and that's it. That's all you got to do. All right. I will announce later in the episode our winner. Here it is. Is our winner Kim Kresge? Kim Kresge. 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 Well, that is our winner. So please sign up and support the show. Also support the show by telling your friends about it. Tell your gym members about it. Post on any kind of community boards you have. I'm going to start doing other podcasts to promote the show around the place, because it's probably the best way for me to get out there and tell people. So if there's a podcast that you guys like and think is good and think I'd be a good guest on it, I've been on a billion podcasts, but I'll do more. So I don't know, whatever CrossFit or fitness or health podcasts you listen to, let them know that I'm available and I would like to do it, and say, hey, you should have so-and-so on as a guest. Have Eddie Ift on as a guest, and I'll do it. So we've got a lot of great guests coming up on this show. I've got a lot of dates coming up doing comedy, depending on what kind of travel restrictions are going to be or whatever. I didn't plan on leaving the country for a while, so I think I'm good with that. There was a very good episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, if you listened to the other day, where I'm recommending another podcast right now, but he has an infectious disease. What do you call them? Doctor. Yeah, that's what they're called. They're called a doctor. But that is a really good episode to listen to get kind of the facts. He has this guy, Michael Osterholm, on, who is an infectious disease epidemiologist. And the guy tells you kind of the myths and the truths, because it's kind of hard to hear right now of what your friends tell you, what the government tells you. This guy knows his shit. So check it out. And again, we don't talk about it all. Maybe I'll talk to somebody on here about it. But that is it. I hope you enjoy this episode. Check out all my dates. Traveling, I have dates coming up. If I'm in your town, Denver, Boulder, Sun Valley, Scottsdale, Arizona, Ann Arbor, Michigan, wherever you may be, I may be. So check out my dates at eddyift.com. And thanks for listening, and stay healthy. Stay healthy. Worry about yourself and your family with your hygiene. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Cover your face when you cough if you happen to be sick, and eat lots of veggies and good meats, good fish, and take your vitamins and minerals, and exercise. That's what you can do. Stay healthy. That'll keep your immune system good. Get yourself some liposomal vitamin C too. That's it. Enjoy this episode with Mike Catherwood. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Ift. Every week I am here. I bring you a show about, who knows? We talk about strength, conditioning, health, fitness, wellness, flexibility, mobility, nutrition, mental health, you name it. Every week, we don't know. We talked about environmental health one week. So every week it's very interesting, and this week is absolutely like that. My guest today is one of my favorite people in the entire world. I said that a lot, but I really mean it today. I do. I really, really mean it. I've known this guy probably for, like 15 years now. I got to turn your volume on. Let me hear you again.
Hello.
Yeah, there you are. I've known Mike Catherwood here, also known as Psycho Mike, for about 15 years. I first met him when I went to Kevin and Bean, which is one of the most popular radio shows in the world in history, and was the most popular show, still is, in Los Angeles. Different name now, but Mike was just the guy in the. You were basically like the producer. What were you? Engineer, sound engineer.
Yeah, but by the time I met you, I had kind of transferred into being more of an on-air kind of a group of characters that would contribute to being on air. But I started just cutting tape and editing and all that.
But you were already, when I came in there, I remember, because I think I was already CrossFitting, and you were like ahead of me even. Because I'm one of the like first guys to get into it.
I was way ahead of the curve when it came to CrossFitting, and totally by accident. I had no like intention of doing that. I just was I've always been into fitness and stuff, and I just through total accident, through total circumstances that were outside of my control, fell in with a group of people who went on to found CrossFit LA. Andy Petranek and Michael Stanwyck and those guys. And I just, like, a friend of a friend introduced me, and they were doing stuff that was like really interesting, like that functional stuff that was totally not around in 2003, 2004.
Geez, that's how early. So that's how early.
Yeah, it was like 2004, 2005.
Jeez, that's like at the beginning.
Yeah, I think like Glassman had done some stuff up north. And then outside of that, they were like the only guys who were. Yeah,
because I think Andy's gym was, I mean, I don't know how many affiliates there are now, like 3,500 or something, like some crazy number. Andy was like in the first 10.
Yeah.
I believe.
I definitely believe so, because I was there when pretty much everyone who came through the door had to be explained what CrossFit was. And so that's, I mean, I was, and it was actually kind of cool, because whether or not, you have an interest in CrossFit, it was really amazing to see something like that from a business perspective, to see it being built. I was blown away by it.
It's phenomenal, because I've been around since the first one I went to was Paradiso, and it was in like a storage facility basically. And I watched it. I watched the entire evolution of it, and sometimes I feel like there's a de-evolution of it.
Sometimes, yeah.
But to watch something, not just the progress of people's lifting and how strong or whatever fit they became, but the business.
Yeah.
To watch a business grow like that and just multiplied and how it grew online. And it was just astounding.
And I'm really obsessive about like the idea of the small business, because I'm a pretty, I know this is a bad word now, but I'm a pretty nationalistic guy. Like, I'm really proud of America. I'm proud to be an American. I really love this country, and I obviously I can acknowledge its faults, but I love America, and I'm proud to like boast about this country. But we all kind of, regardless of how much you love America, we can kind of acknowledge that the government isn't what we think it is, or it doesn't have the citizens' best intentions. There's a game that's played, both by conservatives and liberals, that really they're just advancing their agenda, which is kind of separate from our best intentions. And the small business I still look at as like protesting and the small business are the two prime examples of what it means to like still be an American and exercise complete freedom.
Sure.
Like the idea that you can just start a business, doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have. It's like, I have a dream and I'm going to do this. And so I really am fascinated and I get like stimulated at the idea of these small businesses thriving
until they go public,
until they become,
and then they become the enemy.
Yeah. And then they become these corporate entities that we all hate. But, so like I said, I kind of got to watch Andy, who was like always such this very admirable guy. He's a Marine, and he always just seemed to have his shit together. He was one of those. But
he's also a Marine, but he's like the sweetest guy.
I know.
So you're like, how could you be like a tough guy Marine?
Because that's the way real tough guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, you should know that even from like bumping elbows with MMA fighters and
that's true. That's true. You're right.
Real bad. Even if they are legitimate tough guys, you look at them and you're like, I don't want to fuck with that guy.
Yeah.
When you sit down and talk with them and you have a cup of coffee, you're like, oh, this guy's a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Always. It's always the fucking affliction shirt.
Yep.
Camaro guy that is putting on a show.
It's funny you say that. I went on a hike one day with a couple buddies, and one's a Navy SEAL. Mm-hmm. And we were all talking about the first time we killed like an animal in our life. Mm-hmm. Like we were all talking about hunting. And I said, when I was a little kid, I shot a bird and I cried, and I've never killed an animal ever since. And he's like, same thing happened to me. The exact same thing. And I'm like,
what?
Wait, you've done tours of Iraq and Afghanistan. You've killed people.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I could never hurt an animal, And I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. It sounds so trite, but there really is something, about the guys who, and I do relegate this to men. I don't know how it is for women, but it's a very, kind of male centric thing that the people who do the posturing oftentimes are overcompensating for the fact that they don't have it.
Sure. Yeah. Rogan told me that one time. He said, like, I used to have road rage really badly and all this. He's like, you need jujitsu. He's like, once you get tough enough that you'll lose your ego completely.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's the best part about it, is that you'll look at everyone like they're a child. And so if a little kid was giving you a hard time on the road, you'd just be like, oh, look at that little kid.
Yeah. And also I agree. I think a lot of it has to do with ego. And as I've gotten better at fighting, technically better, a lot of it is just humbling yourself, because you realize that
how tough some guys are.
They're so good. People can literally, I have consistently have people beat me up. So I don't have to envision what that experience is like. Yeah. I know what it's like and I feel very humble about it. But on top of that, it's also like I not only see and experience real violence. Mm-hmm. And it's not something you want.
No.
Like, I think people watch too many, like, Jason Statham movies and they've never really engaged or been around real violence. Like, that's not something you want to willingly engage in.
So you've been doing jujitsu?
I have, but I started, my first martial art was Muay Thai.
Okay.
And right around the same time I started CrossFit, early 2000s. And then I got into jujitsu like 4 or 5 years later from a friend of mine who he went on to win ADCCs, like a world-class black belt. Orlando Sanchez, and he was just like a personal buddy of mine, like a party buddy that we used to, we got kind of clean together and we lifted weights together. We were always in physical culture, and he took up jujitsu and was so naturally gifted at it that he became.
Was he naturally gifted or was he obsessed with it?
A combination, because there's a lot of guys who become obsessive with jujitsu. It's like surfing and golf. People commonly become obsessive with it. He was also on top of like on the mats every day. He was just so physically gifted. He's like 350 pounds and 5'8" and moves like a ballerina. He's just one of those guys. Like,
I'm not really well versed in it. I enjoy it and stuff, but what is it that would make somebody gifted? Is it power? Is it strength? Is it mobility?
It's a combination. I think it's a combination of, it's very similar to like what would make someone great at CrossFit as opposed to just really good. Like, I was really good at CrossFit because I always had high powerlifting numbers and I could do 20 pull-ups.
Right.
But I couldn't row very well and I couldn't do gymnastic stuff very well. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, there's plenty of people who are jacked and they can get top game and smash you, and they're great at that and takedowns and stuff like that. But they're not they don't have a lot of like articulation in their hips to throw up submissions off their back. He had it all. He was this college football player who, like I said, also moved like a yogi.
So he's got serious athleticism.
Yeah, and he was gifted, and he's just a mean, tough dude. So
I always forget, like I'll see these guys that are good at whatever it is, any sport, and you go, well, if you work hard, anyone can get like that. And then you see guys that you're like, no, that's genetics also. Yeah. Like they're a hard worker that's obsessed with this, but they have crazy genetic ability to do things that most humans.
That's what I think I loved most about jiu-jitsu. I went on to answer your question. I went on to train in jiu-jitsu pretty seriously for 5 to 6 years. And then around 3 years ago, I just tapered off. I stopped training very frequently, and I've become really like obsessive about Muay Thai and boxing.
Really?
I train 4 or 5 times a week, and I've become really, it is my newest kind of.
They can't see you right now, but Mike Catherwood has the prettiest face in the world. Don't you worry about messing up your face?
Yes and no. I mean, I do. I don't know if you can't see it as bad right now, but like I definitely had like a big black eye last week, and now it's just a little bit of swelling here. And I get the bloody nose and bloody lips and stuff like that. And it worries me, but at the same time, I also think like, I appreciate the compliment that you think.
Well, you're an on-air performer. Like you're a presenter, like a host. And I don't know if do you act also?
I do, but I only do because like, my agent will call and be like, hey, Workaholics wants you to come in and do. And so I've acted a good amount, but it's just friends ask me to come be on
It's
the
also
show.
like, how do you say no to that?
Yeah.
No one would ever say no to an acting.
Yeah, and my wife has gotten me on both sitcoms that she was on.
Okay, that's and those are nice checks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like,
I tell people now, because they ask me from doing stand up, they're like, "Do you act?" And I go, "Not really." I go, "I won't turn it down,
Sure.
but I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I will never say no to it."
yeah, the money's preposterous.
Yeah.
But I think actors do earn that, because what it takes to get to the point where you're earning the preposterous money is truly insane. And I don't think, I honestly, I think people will just listen to me say this. And if you haven't seen it firsthand, you don't realize like what it takes to be a professional actor is an otherworldly level of rejection, ridicule,
hell.
self-esteem destruction.
It takes between actors and comedians. I always say I don't know about acting as much as when people say, "Oh my God, you're so talented." I go, "It's not talent; it's a disability. Yeah. It's a disability that gets you to comedy."
But with comedy, what I always found special about comedy is that, yes, in my opinion, the hardest job in entertainment is the stand-up.
Right.
That stand-up is the what you have to do writing wise and preparation to perform and be good at it is second to none, in my opinion. But there's an incredible gift that stand-ups have, and that is you have complete creative control of what you do. And there's no other, even radio, like there's just no other job. I guess podcasting now has become that way, which is great. But certainly actors, when I do like real mainstream media jobs in broadcasting, I have 11 people tell me what I can and can't say. And so, whereas the stand-up, like you live and die by what you know, it's all you. So, when people tell you you're an actor and you have to go in and audition, and someone tells you not good enough, too old, too ugly, too short, too tall, like that is a certain level of disaster. Whereas if you bomb as a comedian, sucks. Yeah. But you're like, yeah, I'll get him tomorrow night. You know, it's all me. It's all me. I don't have to impress these people. I'm just doing my job.
You got to live with it as an actor till, and that's I used to tell people, I go, when you bomb as a comedian, you have till the next show. Mm-hmm. And you feel that feeling until you clean it up. Like it goes away on the next performance, unless you bomb again. And then you're like, wow, this sucks. I'm taking it with me.
But sometimes it's a gift, right? You know, like I'm not even in any way trying to compare myself to you, but I've given stand up a fair go. I've done it, 50 times or something. And like, there's been times when I bombed where I was like, okay, this just feels horrible. And there's times when I bombed and I was like, oh no, this is a nice cold shower. I need to work harder. I'm not doing my job.
Now it's not painful at all. Even when it's a bad bomb, I'm just like, oh, fuck them. Or, that meant I didn't do this or I didn't do that, but it happened. So not to be like, oh, I've just been doing it so long that it happens so infrequently now. Just, I think the longer you do it, the less it happens.
Same with radio. I mean, I've done interviews where, in the first 2 or 3 years of doing radio, if I did an interview or like a red carpet interview and it sucked, I mean, I was ruined for a month. Now it's like,
yeah, that's how I feel. If I bomb, I honestly do not take it for another hour. Yeah. I don't own it. I might be mad for 15, 20 minutes, half hour, but it used to be I would ride it until the next show. And the good part about being in New York, where you do multiple shows, that could be 15 minutes later. Right. And it's like, whew, that's gone.
Also, I mean, you're so experienced, you realize sometimes it's really not you. Sometimes you bomb because the crowd came to see someone who's like a little bit more acerbic or intellectual, or they came to see someone who's dirty and raunchy, and you just didn't fit there.
There can be a million things. Who went up before you? What was going on with the air conditioner? There can be a million reasons. Right. And, but what you were going back to, the actor has to take that with them sometimes for a long time, especially if it's like a film that bombs and then they have to live on that film till their next film. Right. And when I read articles about them, and nobody realizes it because they just think they're movie stars and they're riding a high, and you don't get it. They're living off that last film, and they walk around with that kind of shame if it did well at the box, or if it did poorly at the box office, or it did poorly with the critics. They have to live with that, and it just eats them. I really feel for actors and actresses.
Yeah. It's and obviously, like, I'm biased because my wife's an actor, and I was that guy before I started dating my wife. Before I married her, I was like, oh fuck, Cry Me a River, fucking Millionaire, and you know, especially for my wife, who's a early 40s woman,
which is a really tough bracket
because she's no longer the hot chick, and she's not yet the grandmother or the DA.
Yeah,
she's in this weird, and she just gets destroyed, emotionally destroyed so often.
Well, Hollywood's she's in the category the meanest.
Yeah.
That is the.
And I just all the like self-help people that I've ever studied or books I've read or the people I've been lucky enough to like actually have conversations with. One of the big things they talk about in really finding happiness, true happiness, is that you can't be concerned with outside validation. Mm-hmm. You know, you've really just got to divorce yourself from the idea of needing other people's approval. That's built into being an actor. Sure. You literally need
a
casting director and everyone to say, I approve. Well, a comedian for sure, but in a different way. Like a comedian needs the audience to laugh, but you get to a certain point in your career, I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, where you start to write for what you like. And you know what I'm saying? You write what you think's funny. Sure. You stop concerning, is this crowd going to like this? Is this people going to like? I write what I think is good, and I'm going to stick to that. And the better you get, and the more seasoned you get, I'm sure you start to factor in less the idea of that outside approval. Whereas an actor literally needs like a producer and a casting director and people to say, yes, we approve you.
Right.
Come work for us.
Right.
We bestow you the access to this project,
right,
you know?
Right. And, but I just mean I feel for actresses especially, because actors are not, it's not based on their looks as much also.
Absolutely.
As is an actress. An actor, it can be, hey, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, it doesn't matter. He could be the ugliest guy in the world, but he's a great actor.
Look at what we consider like the greatest cinema actors right now, or like in the last 20 years. I can name like all the guys who go Philip Seymour Hoffman, go down the list, like name some dudes.
De Niro.
They're not necessarily like heartthrobs. Some of them are. Leo would be considered a great actor, right?
And Brad Pitt and Ryan Reynolds. That's about it. But for the most part,
you name the women, they're all dime pieces. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, even you can say Meryl Streep or something. Meryl Streep was fucking insanely hot when she was 30, you know? Like,
there's no getting away. You
have to be, it's sad. It's sad to say, but like,
it's very sad. Yeah. I read that in Dr. Drew's books, who, if you guys don't know, Mike used to be and still is partners with Dr. Drew on some shows. What's the show you guys are doing now?
We actually don't, for the first time in over a decade, Dr. Drew and I don't professionally do anything together.
Really?
He was just a guest on my podcast. My new podcast, but like we don't professionally do anything together. And we were commenting about how weird it is. I mean, So
you guys don't do the radio show that you were doing?
Mm-mm.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys, I mean, the show that everybody knows, Loveline.
Yeah.
You were the co-host on Loveline for how many years?
Like 8.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So 8 years at Loveline. I assume you read his book, The Mirror Effect.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was reading that, I called him and I was like, Dr. Drew, I think I need to quit the business.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? I'm like, I think I'm a narcissist. And he's like, no. And he said, everybody has narcissistic tendencies.
Sure.
He's like, you're not pathological. He's like, and I said, yeah, but it said in there that actresses and comedians had like the highest level of narcissism.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I said, and it just makes me feel like to be successful, you have to be super narcissistic. And if you're not, then you're going to fail. And
I always say it's like this, because I went through this same thing where I was like, maybe, you know, I'd watch guys who started with me or like went to Groundlings with them, and like I watched their careers advance, and I'm like, that guy's a cocksucker. Like that guy's a big asshole. Why is he? And then I started to maybe think to myself, do I need to be more cutthroat?
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion, and I don't necessarily base this on any science. It's just kind of anecdotal. I base it's kind of like leaping ability. There's some people who just come out of the womb ready to jump 43 inches. They're gifted and they never worked on it. They never did plyometrics one day in their life, and they're just boing. Do you have to be that guy to make it in the NBA? Absolutely not. It's a little easier if you are, but you don't have to be that guy. I think it's a little easier to make it in Hollywood if you're a completely amoral dick, you know, because you don't mind stabbing people in the back. You don't mind stepping on people. I definitely think that there's an advantage at some point. Is it sustainable? Probably not, but there's an advantage to it.
Sure.
Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be that guy.
I heard Barry Katz say it on his podcast once. He said, if you look at the best comedians, he said, or look at all comedians, they have a hole inside them. And he goes, they're trying to fill that hole. He goes, usually the more successful they are, the bigger that hole is.
Right, right.
So at a certain point, I just realized my hole is not that big.
Yeah.
Well, that hole, but,
No, it isn't. And I know you. You're just not that guy. You're not that guy.
And I can't do the things that it takes to get there.
Right.
Because there's not that drive. I'm too happy with my wife and kids and my family and my friends and my hobbies to need that significance to give me happiness.
Right.
That I won't do the things they do, make the decisions they do, make the sacrifices that they sacrifice. So I'm like, I look at them like, go ahead and have what you have because you need that.
Right.
Like you need that to breathe.
And in the end, it sounds so cliche, but when we're staring down death and we're 90 something, hopefully, and we're ready to go, like none of that's going to matter.
Right.
What your relationship with your kids and your wife is going to totally matter a lot.
Yeah.
And being able to like really confidently say like, I did a good job here.
Yeah.
I was a good man.
Yeah.
That's going to matter a whole lot more. Now, it's still insulting sometimes though when you watch those people, especially when you're a competitive person. You want to be better. You want to be the best comedian you can be. It's still hurtful sometimes, but like just keep that in mind. And look, I know really, really, really successful people in the entertainment industry who are really good people.
Yeah.
So it's like, that always gives me hope.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There's a few, and I tell people ask me that question all the time. They always go, who have you met that is a really good person? And I'm like, that's funny that's asked. And I get that often. And I always name people like Jimmy Kimmel.
Kimmel's great. Yeah.
Or, Brad Garrett or these people that just somehow have maintained being, just an awesome person and still are really talented and really good at what they do. And it was funny up until I had met a few of these guys. I didn't think it was possible. And then it was like, okay, just model myself after them.
Right.
Just do whatever they did because then I can still stay the person I am and try to do the right thing and still be successful.
Right.
And I do think it's harder. I think there are decisions I could have made many times, screwed people over and gone farther, but maybe not. Maybe in the long run.
And I'm small potatoes, but there's been times in my life, in my career, where I was like, okay, we can drop everything. You'll get paid more money and we'll go to a different syndication company. Yeah. You got to fire everyone around you.
Yeah.
But that's it. And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I just didn't choose to do that. And in the long run, like and this is something that I learned proof positive from getting clean. Like being in recovery, I'm not one of those guys that I never want to be one of those guys that got clean and then tries to tell everybody else how to live their life.
Yeah.
Drugs and drinking are awesome, and people who work hard every day, you deserve to be able to kick back and let loose a little bit. If you can control it, thumbs up. But me being an addict, being an alcoholic, like having to deal with that and confront it, I learned this proof positive, no ifs, ands, or buts, not open for debate. There's no amount of money or success or achievement that can compare to being able to authentically look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Waking up in the morning and being like, you know what? I'm okay with the person I am. There's no price you can put on it,
Sure. When you were using drugs and alcohol, were you not the person other than just using the drugs? Did it turn you into a person you
Yeah, absolutely. And I was lucky enough that I never was like a violent guy. I don't have any, I went crazy and beat my friend up.
Yeah.
But I was such a cold, isolating, because I'm a people person. I like people. I like to get to know people. I like to talk to when I sit down on a plane, I know this sounds insane, but when I sit down on a plane and the person sitting next to me wants to have a conversation, I'm like, all right, cool.
I used to be, not anymore. Now I'm like, leave me alone, please. I like random cab drivers or Lyft drivers.
Lyft drivers are the best.
I love a random, if they've got a weird story.
I have the best one ever to tell you, but so I like people naturally. I was such an isolated, cold, just divorced from the idea of being social, and also I was such a liar.
Well, that's part of it though, isn't it?
But the difference between being a liar amidst your disease and being a liar now is like, of course I tell lies now.
Yeah.
But if, if I'm beaten off to porn and my wife comes home and I quickly put away the laptop and everything, she's like, "What are we doing here?" And I go, I was watching some sports, getting ready to change, go to the gym.
Yeah.
Internally, I go, "Oh, this feels awful. Yeah. I'm telling a lie. Yeah. I'm being dishonest and this sucks." Back when you're using stuff, you tell lies. You don't even notice it. You don't feel that. I'd be like, I'm not high to my dad, and it didn't even faze me.
Yeah. You know? I've heard that's one of the things that addiction creates, like anyone that's an addict is just a liar.
There's no recognition of your dishonesty. That's the difference. It's like everyone is dishonest, sometimes for the betterment of everyone around them. Right. Does this make me look fat? You don't.
You got to see I've talked about it on the show a million times, the Netflix documentary about cheating.
Yeah.
About how much people cheat.
Yeah.
And David Paradiso watched it, and then he installed a camera at Paradiso CrossFit, and because everybody was putting their scores up and everything, and then he just went back and watched the footage, and he's like, really?
Yeah. That's what
you count all your reps?
No, you 20 cleans, huh? That's how many you got? Yeah.
I just was working out. I just did CrossFit for 2 weeks straight because I was on the road, and there were guys that I just look at them, when you size someone up and you're like, I know I can beat you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to compete with you because I'm on my own thing, but I'm looking at you, and then you sense them like getting close to you, or that they're watching you and they've made it a competition between you.
Sure.
And then, but I'm like, I'm not going to break. I'm not going to go all out. I'm not going to blow myself out because I'm in this for health. So I'm like, don't do it. But fuck, I know, and I'm like, I don't want to get into this, this cockfight with this guy. But then I'm watching and I'm like, I'm keeping a solid pace. How are you so far ahead of me, you cheater? You're cheating. And it's killing me because it's making me laugh kind of because like your ego, you want to beat me so bad that you'll actually cheat to beat me.
Yeah.
And it just shows me like humanity that like that's what we're all about. Because I know there's no possible way like this guy is in the rounds and you see the guy go out for the run and you're like, there's no way he's ahead of me right now without cheating.
That's the great thing about combat sports.
No cheating.
Okay. Oh, really? Yeah. You punched that hard? Okay. Let's see. Let's spar a little bit. Yeah. There's just no ability. The competition aspect is completely honest. There's nothing more honest than.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to interrupt the show because I want to talk to you about something that is important for every single gym owner out there. If you are a gym owner, you're not a real gym owner unless you've got Wodify. It is by far the best all-in-one gym management software for your CrossFit box. It was created just for CrossFit. It is specifically, these guys know CrossFit better than anyone. It was created by CrossFitters knowing the business so well. And I have had many guests on the show that are high up in the CrossFit world that own CrossFit gyms, own very successful CrossFit gyms or CrossFit businesses, and they use it. So if the best are using it, you should use it. People like Jason Kalipa, Miranda and Julian Alcaraz, you know them from Street Parking. Pat Barber, my favorite CrossFitter in the world, he uses it. It's a, like I said, it's an all-in-one gym management software program. It's designed by CrossFitters. It'll manage your classes, your appointments, your billing, your waivers, reporting, much more. If you go to their website, it's transparent pricing. There's no hidden fees. You're not going to get hit with stuff later. It's just boom, one time this, whatever you're going to pay. And if you're switching out of other software, it's so easy. If you've got to think, oh, I don't want to cross over, Wodify's done it for thousands of gym owners, and they provide a dedicated onboard specialist to walk you through it, make sure it's easy. And it doesn't matter what your gym size, you're going to pay for the features you want, not the number of your members. So it's not like, well, oh my God, I've got this huge gym. It's going to be so expensive. Same price. And it can integrate from QuickBooks, Zapier, MailChimp, many other softwares. They've got world-class support, webinars, an e-learning academy, other helpful resources. So you want to get 20% off? You're a gym owner. Go to Wodify.com/Wadcast. That's Wodify.com/Wadcast. You're going to get 20% off of Wodify Core for 1 year. That's a pretty good deal. Okay. So like I said, 20% off first year of Wodify Core. Mention Wadcast Podcast. You don't have to say it like that. You're supposed to say it like this. You're supposed to go Wadcast Podcast. And, That you do that on the phone. Okay. If you call them, say Wadcast podcast, like when they answer the phone, they're like, hey, welcome to Wadify. Just scream out Wadcast podcast. And you can do that. You visit wadify.com/Wadcast. More information there, and check it out. If you're a gym and you're not using it, you're an idiot. I'm just saying that. They didn't say that, but I'm saying it. Yeah, I wanted to get into it. I actually wanted to do Muay Thai more than I did a little boxing. I wanted to do Muay Thai. Rogan tried to talk me into jiu-jitsu, and I was like, I don't want to roll around on the ground with dudes. I like jiu-jitsu a lot. I think it's incredible. I think it's so interesting. I think it's amazing because it's like chess to me. And I think it's so cool. Like the more you know, the more knowledgeable you are, the more well-trained you are, the better you are at it. Like,
yeah, don't get me wrong. Personally, I prefer striking sports. I love it. When I'm walk by a mirror, I shadow box and I'm thinking about it all day, so I'm that guy. But there's just something special about jiu-jitsu, and judo as well, is like, it's never ending. Yeah. You never get to a point where you feel like I'm complete. You're constantly, the sport is very alive. It's constantly growing and building. It's like an organism, it's always evolving, and there's an artistic nature to it, in that the way one black belt's game is completely different than someone else. It's like everyone has their own style that they apply to it. And for that reason, it's really special. Because you look at like Muay Thai, there's only so many ways to throw an elbow. There's only so many ways to throw a leg kick, and then doesn't really, there's guys who have their own style, like Sanchai has this a really crazy style, but it still boils down to you're kicking someone, you're punching someone.
Don't you worry? I think about like how, fragile kind of, like our bones are strong, but you look at people shattering their shin bones all the time. And doesn't that scare you a little bit? It does,
but even really high level people, we all wear shin guards. Yeah. In sparring, you wear shin guards. That's like the number one. And then for the most part, I don't know if this is all gyms, but for the most part, there's no elbows outside of competition. Okay. Like, so you can like mime them. But you don't really knee people and elbow people in sparring, and you're wearing shin pads. So
I just heard something that they're taking the heading out of soccer practice or something. You're only going to be able to do it in games.
For some reason, like it looks like it's not the aggressive acute trauma, like falling off a vert ramp on a skateboard. Yeah. It's this continuous soft over and over. That's why like football linemen and they're saying soccer players are heading balls. Yeah, the heading balls bad. It's more of that kind of thing.
I wonder about surfing and the constant the wipeout after wipeout after wipeout after wipeout, the shaking of the brain. Yeah. Like when you get rattled underwater on a big wave, your brain.
That's true, but I mean, this is total bro science. I don't know many super old surfers that are all punch drunk. I've never really seen that.
Yeah, but I don't know many surfers that are too on top of their game.
But they started that way.
Yeah.
How many surfers did you know that were in their PhD when they started surfing?
That's true. I just wonder about it. My buddy got a bad concussion this year. Yeah. And surfing in at Piha at Jaws, and it fucked him up.
Oh fuck yeah!
And it's like scared him completely. Like he's surfing with a helmet now. I mean, he's one of the top big wave surfers. But I was thinking about it. And I'm like, I don't think it'll be long until we see them all in helmets.
But look at like a guy like Laird, who's taken more consistent gnarly fucking wipeouts than Laird, and he's amazing. You talk to him, he's so on point. Yeah, on point. Yeah. So that's my take on too. Like I said, that intense acute trauma. You look at guys like Travis Pastrana,
right,
and Tony Hawk, who have had 60 concussions.
It's unbelievable.
They're fine somehow. Yet
now, but what about was it McCoy? Who was the guy that killed himself? He was a top BMXer.
Oh, Matt. Not Matt Hoffman. Fucking.
Was it Matt McCoy?
No, it was. God damn it. Not Silva. Fucking. If you said his name, I would. Jason Ellis, who's my close friend, was really close with the guy, and it was devastating.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, his was one of those like CTE out of nowhere kind of. Yep. Didn't see it coming, didn't know, but had probably had a lot of. My father-in-law is a former NFL football player, and they had him tested recently. They had him come down to, he lives in North Carolina. So they're having, the NFL has a testing center at at UNC Charlotte, or UNC, which is down in I forget where UNC's campus is, but it's not far. So he drove down from Charlotte, and they do these like 2-day testings where he's in for like 8 hours a day. And his brain looks really good compared to a lot of the other guys. And I think one of the things I've seen it with him and someone else, but it's like the guys, Dave Mira, there it is.
Sorry.
The guys that are, move this away. I think we're getting static.
Sorry.
Yep. The guys that are getting, like my father-in-law after the NFL got involved in business and works really hard and is very like day to day, really using his brain. Mm-hmm. And do you know John Wellborn?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Wellborn, kind of same thing, like smart guy, no CTE kind of, and I have a feeling there's some kind of association. This is again, bro science of it's like rehabbing your brain.
Yeah.
If you get hurt in sports and you just sit around and let those injuries keep like you don't rehab them, they're going to get worse and worse, and you're going to get arthritic and you're going to have inflammation all over. I think the same thing might possibly be going on with the brain.
I think so too. I mean, if you look at, and again, this is total bro science, but if you look at those guys and gals who are super sharp, well into their 80s and 90s, they all work like crazy.
Yeah.
They're not the old folks home.
Yeah.
Old people, the Betty Whites and the Coach Wooden, he died. It was got to be in his late 80s, maybe even early 90s, and he was sharp as a tack. Mel Brooks, from what I understand, is like talking to 30-year-old Mel Brooks, and so I think it's just a matter of like if you don't use it, you lose it. Type of stuff. When it comes
to so I'm wondering about the CTE, how like. A lot of NFL guys, that's all they ever wanted to do. They finished it. They lost purpose in life, and they sit around and just go, sell cars at a used car or a car dealership or something. And, maybe it's not using that muscle.
And look at those guys that keep it. They're all like, they all transition into broadcasting or training or something. You know what I'm saying? Like and
broadcasting is not an easy job.
No.
Those guys, especially the ones that, anybody that does broadcasting for sport, because funny, in the early days of CrossFit, they talked to me about coming in and being one of the like broadcasters for the sport. And I was like, you don't want me. And they said, I said, that's not what I'm good at. And I wouldn't do it well. And I don't have an interest enough. And it would be hard for me to study the sport and be able to talk about it that effectively.
Yeah. You have to have a deep passion.
It's amazing. It's amazing when I hear, like, I love surfing, and it's pretty much the only sport I watch. Like competitive surfing, and I've watched it religiously for 10 years. I still couldn't do what those guys do.
Yeah, even within broadcasting, like I consider myself a pretty good broadcaster, pretty seasoned, pretty experienced. I wouldn't be good at play-by-play. Like that's a different beast, like there's different, it's the same. It's like a prop comic versus like an alt comic versus someone who's like a joke teller, who's like a real sharp joke. There's different takes on it.
It's a different beast.
You couldn't ask Nick Swartzen to be, like a really like acerbic, storyteller. No. He's got to be Nick,
But Rogan could do everything though. I watch Rogan. I'm like, how are you such a good comic? You're a really good commentator. You're a really good podcast. Like he does everything. You're really good jujitsu. You're really good at.
Well, he's a good example of it pays to be obsessive because he gets crazy about stuff. I don't know Joe too well, but like we would know, he would recognize me if we saw, because of the K-Rock days.
Right.
He used to come into Kevin and Bean prior to the Joe Rogan experience. He used to come into Kevin and Bean all the time. And just even talking to him off the air, whatever his new passion is, like he's if it's monkeys that happen to have tripped on, if Clarence McKenna tells him about some breed of simian species that uses mushrooms, he's going to tell you about every single detail down.
But there's so, like, I have a lot of hobbies and a lot of interests, and I always think I'm a jack of all trades, expert of none. Mm-hmm. He's a jack of all trades, expert of all of them.
Yeah.
Like he's hard not to talk, because you talk to guys that bow hunt with them. You talk to guys that do. I remember asking somebody once who did Taekwondo with them. They're like, yeah, he was the fucking best.
Yeah.
Like stand up. People always go, oh, is he really funny? I'm like, yeah, he's hysterical.
It was very funny.
He's hysterical, and he's got this like, and sometimes it frustrates me because I'm like, can I just know that you're failing at something?
Yeah. It probably is. I bet you he'd be honest with it, where he's like, yeah, I tried this. I was terrible and I gave up on it. Like, Steffi Cohen, the powerlifter, just wrote from Hybrid Performance. She just wrote a great article, or she did a podcast, something about it. I think I saw it in text, but it was a podcast possibly talking about the value of failing and giving up. She's like, there's, I know people, it's like, live your dreams, you go for it no matter what.
Never give up.
Some stuff where it's like, no, I'm not going to apply myself to this.
Ricky Gervais said that. He goes, you should quit. Yeah. You should quit a lot. He goes, I wanted to be in an 80s kind of like hair band.
Yeah.
And he goes, if I had never gave that up, I never would have wrote The Office.
Right.
He's like, so sometimes giving up is what gets you to something else. So it's just knowing when to quit. I bought a book about quitting, about basically like figuring out when it's time to like figure it out, when it's time to quit or change gears, or, like when you're so close. A lot of times people quit right when it's about to happen, and they just, but how do you know? Because it didn't.
It's like, do you really like it?
Yeah.
That's and I think people, I only say this with such confidence because I've been guilty of it so much, where you tell yourself a story. I really like this. It's because you think you're that type of guy or that type of gal who would be into cross country or jujitsu or something, like you're a muscular guy who used to be a Marine. Oh, I'm going to do jujitsu. That's because that's who I am. And it's like, maybe you don't like it. Maybe you don't, and ask yourself, do you like, Corolla always gave me the advice. There's only 2 reasons to do anything as an adult. Someone's paying you, or you really enjoy it. If you don't enjoy something and you're not getting a paycheck, don't do that ever.
So funny. I used to say that about CrossFit. A guy said to me one time, "How's your snatch game?" And I'd stopped doing snatches. Yeah. And he goes, "How's your snatch?" And I said, "No, I don't do it." And he goes, "Why not?" And I go, "It never made me money and never got me laid."
Yeah.
And I said, "I only do things that make me money and get me laid."
It's a great ethos to live by. It sounds crude, but it's reality is like, that's true. Now, some people, the way I feel about boxing and Muay Thai, those people feel that about Olympic lifting. Now, Olympic lifting is super dangerous. It takes an eternity to learn how to do it well. But hey, if you get a fucking buzz from getting a new PR in the snatch, do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 40, I'll be 41 on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I probably shouldn't be powerlifting. I probably shouldn't be doing.
I thought you were doing more bodybuilding. You powerlift.
I don't, what would be considered quote unquote bodybuilding. I don't consider myself that because I'm natural.
Yeah.
And I work out at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach and I see bodybuilders.
Right.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like performance has become much more important to me. Now, don't get me wrong.
But so you're focused on bench, deadlift, and squat?
Yeah. And then the supplemental exercises to help support those,
And the supplemental, are they just so that you can get a PR on your bench and your deadlift and your squat?
Sometimes a lot of it is, but also it's is it
aesthetics or is it
injury
accessory?
Prevention too?
Okay.
Injury prevention too, where like, I do a lot of ab work and a lot of lower back work, not because I want to have a 6-pack, more so because like I don't want to get at the bottom of a squat.
So you're, cause anybody that I'll post a fucking picture, you got like the male body that every guy would want to, like, you could be like, this is what I saw you post something about you having like body shame yourself.
I used to a lot. I still do, but now it's much more manageable.
Okay. But you have like, it's like the aesthetics that guys would want to look like. And you got that just from, you didn't go for the aesthetics?
No, I definitely did.
Okay.
Looking good naked is my number one overarching priority.
Okay.
Getting better at Muay Thai and stuff, like all these things feed into it. But underneath the big top of the temple there is, I want to look good naked.
Does your wife appreciate it?
Yes and no. I think in a healthy way. Like she does, and she'll compliment me, and she likes that I am not a fat slob.
Yeah.
But she also is like, this isn't why I love you.
Yeah.
I hope you know that. Like if you had man.
But I wonder what's in our head as men that we're like,
well, what's in our head as men is that's how we feel about women.
Yeah.
It's terrible to say that, but like it does make a big difference how a woman looks.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously you don't fall in love with a woman because of how she looks, but you don't have any opportunity to fall in love with a woman if she doesn't look good to you.
Sure. Right.
It's terrible to say, but that's kind of like part of
it creates your initial attraction, but then what leads to what seals the deal is a lot more than that. But that initial attraction is always, it's almost always physical.
And I think the more we just admit that and embrace it, like the better guys we can be.
Well, I asked a gay comic one time, I said, why are you guys all in such good shape? Like you all work out constantly and you're in great shape. He goes, I guess we all want to be the guy we want to fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, that kind of makes sense.
They're all guys. The physical is so much more important to them. To gay guys, they're still guys.
Right.
They want the physical. You know?
Right. Where men, physical is important, but to women, there's so many other things.
It's a nice adjunct.
Yeah.
But and I'm not going to be that, like, I'm a modern feminist. Women are so much better than men.
No.
But when it comes to that, I just think that they're a little bit more evolved in the sense that women do put a priority on, like, a guy's moral center, his sense of humor, his intellect. I mean, obviously his level of success. And I think people get like well, she's a gold digger. It's like, no, guys who are successful are fucking attractive because they're go-getters, because they don't sit on their ass. And
well, it's security is an important thing to women. Very important. And it's just innate. Because they're the mother, they're nesting, they're taking care of the children. Who is going to protect them and give them security? Right. And money can give protection. It can
well,
give
in the
security.
modern day, that's how you keep the lions and the warring tribes away. It's not, we don't unfortunately live in a world where you have to worry about a lion ganking your kid around the corner.
But it was funny. I just flew home from Australia yesterday and I flew business class and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, how much better I'm being treated in business class than coach. And I'm thinking about, coronavirus and all this stuff. And I'm like, I feel like they're making me safer up here. So I'm like, there's a safeness of wealth and security that you can, you make more money. You can put your kids in schools that are better and safe. That's always the first thing. People go, we're moving to this area because it's got a better school district. When they say better school district, they mean safer. Obviously they want a better education.
Higher paid teachers, which are, more educated teachers.
But a lot of it comes down to that security. And so the mother is thinking, so when guys always say that, oh, she's with him because he's rich. It's like, yes. That's why she's
and that's incredibly important. Like, why are you pretending it's not super important?
Yeah. I used to have an old joke years ago where they did it. Remember when they did the reality show called, Who Wants to Marry a
Millionaire, right?
A Millionaire or whatever. But it was the show where 50 women vied for the love of this guy to find out, like, they thought he was a millionaire and then they found out he was just like some
dude. Yeah.
Some construction worker. And it was basically
Joe Millionaire.
Yeah.
I loved
So did I. It was and Ralph Garman was,
that was Joe
Schmo.
By the way, that show was so ahead of its time.
Yeah. So,
but Joe Millionaire, the guy who played Joe Millionaire, I think his name was Evan.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for he is the nicest, coolest guy. And he just got fucking terrorized.
But so I felt like that show was very evil because it made these women all look like shit.
Yeah.
And I said they should go, and I did a bit about it. I said they should do the reverse show. But because women like the whole concept of women are gold diggers, men are going after women for all the wrong reasons too. They're just superficial and looking at their looks. Yes. I said, so they should have the same show where 50 men vie for the love of a beautiful woman only to find out that she's got a huge cock.
Yeah.
So
they did that, I think. In some of the countries.
So I tell that joke everywhere in America. It gets laughs. I'm in Australia, my first trip to Australia, and I do that bit and somebody yells out, marry him. And I go, marry him? And they go, marry him. And I go, marry him. And someone goes, no, there's something about marry him. And I go,
that was the show, right?
I go, what are you talking about? They go, yeah, we did that show. so I go, what? So I go home and I start Googling it and I find out all about it. They did the show where these guys all fall in love with this woman. They're all trying to win her over. Yeah. And the very last, she narrows it down to 3 guys. And then from 3, she has to pick one. She lines all 3 up and tells them that she's picked this guy. And the 2 other guys are like, yeah, like kind of upset. And she goes, but before we go off on this yacht together to go on our vacation, blah, 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 you need to know something. And she starts explaining that she has a penis and that she's, really, I guess it's a pre-op transsexual.
Transsexual, yeah.
The other 2 dudes who have been with her, like making out all the time and in love with her, trying, just start laughing at the other guy. And I'm like, what are you laughing at him for? You're this, and they're like laughing almost like he lost instead of won. And I'm like, you're all in the same exact boat, like don't act like, so they put him on she puts him on the spot and she's like, are you going to come with me? And he's like looking at the camera and looking at her and the guy's in total shock.
Of course.
To have something thrown at you like that, to find out that everything you've been doing is a total facade. Yeah. And she's like, are you going to come with me or not? Like after everything and he's like, I guess. And he like walks off with her to the yacht. Well, then it goes on. If you research, all the guys ended up suing the production company and they won, I think it was $250,000 each for being lied to and misrepresented and all this kind of stuff.
Emotional anguish.
Yeah. But I mean, what about all those women that thought this guy was a millionaire, that thought they were marrying a millionaire? It was the same thing. Well,
and what I don't understand, I never understood this. And, we had The Bachelor, the cast of The Bachelor and The Bachelor himself come into Loveline twice, two different seasons. And every time I was blown away because these girls are bending over backwards to get this dude. And one was like a college professor. There was like a district attorney. This collection of women, they were all accomplished and really like beautiful. They were everything like guys would want on paper. They were so the complete package. And I'm thinking in my brain, like, why are you doing this? What the fuck? Why? Whereas if you look at The Bachelorette, all the guys are douchebags. There's no like, I'm a brain surgeon, but I'm taking 6 months off to vie for this woman. They're always like it's like former MLS player, like dresses up like a chicken at a car dealership. Like none of them have like anything going on.
Well, you know what? I think the way they get these women to do it is the competitiveness.
Probably.
Because back in my days when I was a horrible dog and used to like, and I admitted I'm completely guilty of it. Yeah. But one of my techniques was I would invite two girls I was dating out on the same night. Oh. And they would be there and they'd be like, who is she? And I'd be like, oh, she's just a friend. And then the other one would be like, who's she? I'm like, she's just a friend. But then they would both the whole night be like, can we leave? Can just you and I? And I would just let them fight it out. And people go, how does that always work out? I go, well, you just choose the one you like the best and you go home with them that night. I go, and the other one's really mad at you, really fucking mad. Like you're going to get a bunch of texts that say like, you're an asshole, you're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And I go, and then they'll come over the next day. And it happened every time. And it was this weird science of like the competitiveness of women. Whereas if I was a guy and a girl invited me out and there was another guy there was no competition. I would go, well, who's this dude? Yeah. And she'd go, oh, he's just a friend. And I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out. Yeah. Later, you hang with him.
But not all guys who do that. I mean, really? I think guys who aren't necessarily that successful with ladies, I'm really worried about that. Like that incel culture. I know it's become like this joke, this kind of internet joke, like incels. But
what are incels?
Involuntary celibates. Guys who can't get laid.
Okay.
And I do think that they're a way more dangerous kind of segment of society than people realize, because there's something about dudes that if you can't get laid, it will make you crazy.
Well, I do a bit about it on stage, and I always say to people afterwards when they talk about the joke, I go, it's a joke, but the joke is that I say that, every time you see an active shooter, and blah, blah, blah. And I go, it's not because the guns are easily accessible to that guy. It's because the vaginas are not easily accessible to that guy.
It's a great point.
And I said, every time they write their manifesto, you look in it, there's a woman there's probably something out there. Let's see what animal is in the backyard right now. Come here, Noose. So, but every single time in the manifesto, they list like, she denied me or she this or and I think that, and you look at the guys, I go, they're not high school quarterbacks or J. Crew models. And I'm not saying that's the only thing. I'm just saying.
But it's a big factor. Look at the kind of Me Too accused guys.
Yeah.
How many of them are professional athletes or rock stars? None.
Interesting.
And those are the two segments of society that get the most women, yet they're not getting accused. Why? Because they've been getting laid since they were 14 years old.
Sure.
All of them. And they're accustomed to dealing with it, getting what they need out of a woman. And it's like, so it's never, they're never using their power to manipulate women.
Yeah.
They're getting laid.
Interesting.
But like the Harvey Weinsteins and Bill O'Reillys and shit, they're fucking trolls. Those guys never got laid.
Yep.
Now they have $50 million liquid.
And
It's like, I demand you sleep with me,
and there's a little bit, I've seen it with some guys that I know. There's a little bit of hatred towards women. And when they get the fame, they use it. And I see the hatred too. And I'm like, oh, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
One in particular that we both know.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. And you're like, oh, you shouldn't be able to. Because, go fix that before you.
I had a thing where when I was single, after my first marriage, I got divorced in like 2008. And then I met my wife in 2012. So there was a good 3-4 years where I was like happily single and really worked hard at it. I was successful.
Yeah.
And I definitely took it as a feather in my cap that I don't think any of those girls, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think any of those girls like dislike me.
Yeah.
I treated them well, even though there was it was just one night or 1 week or whatever it was. Some of them I dated for a while, some I didn't. But there was a lot of girls, there was a lot of frequency to being sexually active. And I came away from it without being abusive in any way.
Yeah.
But I will say that I have now looked back on it. And even though I can say that I never did anything that wasn't consensual, I never abused a woman, I never manipulated a woman, I still had this idea in my mind like I'm a predator and you're prey.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And I really wish I could have changed. I could, like I just looked at, I was so there's all these kind of latent emotional factors that go into being sexual with someone, and I didn't factor any of them in. I just was so kind of relentless about getting laid.
Yeah. I had the same thing. And I used to almost wish I didn't have it because it was, cause once you practice that and you exercise that muscle, you get good at it.
Yeah.
And you're good at the skill. And same thing where I don't think I'd ever have a girl say he was abusive or he was this or he was that. But there was this, and I still remain friends with a lot of my ex-girlfriends and there are a lot of, but there was this, I don't believe, I was always fair in that I always knew what the outcome was going to be. And they didn't.
Yes, exactly. That's a great point. That's
like, I always knew this is going nowhere. This is just, this is sex.
In fairness though, I don't know about you, but I was always the guy who would be like, I just want you to know I'm not necessarily in a place for a relationship.
Me too. But I think that was part of that also worked in your favor.
Yes.
Where they go, I'm going to change this guy.
But I have to admit,
or the challenge.
I always said that. I never was like unless it was just clearly a one night stand where she's like, I'm drunk, give me a ride home and come home. I'm like, okay, well, but, there were times where like you go on a date with a girl and like you meet up and clearly we're adults. This is going to end with sex. I would always say like, I just want you to know I'm not really necessarily in a place for a relationship, but I was covering my own ass so that I could feel good about myself.
Same thing.
I wasn't really concerned with her getting the point.
Same thing. Cause then my conscience was clean.
Yes.
That I would go, I didn't lead her on.
Exactly.
I told her exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
So this is all on her.
Yeah.
And now in retrospect, I've heard, that people are like, you broke her heart or something like that. And I went, she knew that was her fault. And I'm like, no, I knew.
I remember I was doing an interview for like People or some like really woman friendly magazine. And it was, I was doing some TV show. So they were interviewing me for this and they're like, and it was right at the time I just gotten engaged to my wife.
Right.
And they go, well, you were a pretty active bachelor. Now you're tied down. Is that going to be hard? And I go, oh yeah. And the girl was like indignant. She goes, what? I go, yeah, well, I'm going to be faithful.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard. I used to have sex with a lot of chicks all the time, and now I'm going to have sex with one. That's going to be, and all the like female producers and everything are like, what's wrong with you? I go, you should be happy that I'm being, I love my wife. It's worth it. I'm perfectly happy making the sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, it's my whole act. Is like, that's what I talk about the whole time. I'm like, I had a really good life. Like people say, when I had my child, they go, wasn't that the most amazing moment of your life when your child was born? I'm like, I had a threesome with 2 strippers from Spearmint Rhino. No, like anyone can have a kid. Actually, one was a stripper. One was a ballerina. It was amazing.
Beautiful combo.
I'm going to throw a question to you because I don't get to talk to anybody about this ever on podcasts anymore. And it's weird. We're talking about this on this podcast, but who fucking cares? When the Me Too thing came out, I talked about it extensively because I took my stance from the very beginning where I didn't hide anything because I felt like I had nothing to hide.
Right.
And I've been all over it, and I've worked with Louis C.K. and I've opened for Louis since, and I've had all the magazines and everything try to interview me, and I turned down everything because I don't want to talk about it.
Sure.
Ever. But I've said stuff on podcasts where then I can control the narrative instead of them taking me out of context.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the things that I find, and I'm wondering if you've had the experience because you're a lot better looking guy than me and you're more around Hollywood, where I kind of stay away from Hollywood a lot. I just do my shows and that's where I am. I have been probably sexually harassed probably 3 or 4 times, like really like where jobs were offered out of it almost.
Yeah.
Where when I heard these women talking about what was going on, I was like, this isn't just a female thing. This goes on with everybody.
Well, I had it with a gay male.
Yeah. And I'd had it with gay men too. Yeah.
Was essentially saying like, I can make your dreams come true.
Oh yeah. And I had the same thing where it was just a situation where a gay, really high up comic was like, hey, come up to my hotel room. And I was just like, he's like, I want to show you the film I made and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why don't you bring it down to the lobby? Yeah. And he was like, no, I really want you to come up to my room. And I was like, I don't want to go to your room. And I was arguing that like sometimes these women could go, yeah, that might have furthered my career, but I would rather not further my career in that way. Yeah. So I was like, no, you can do that. We can watch your film down in the lobby. I'm not going to go to your hotel room. And that's because what I was saying is that the level of accountability has never been questioned. Like it's just like, well, these women, of course they go to Harvey Weinstein's room. He's going to give them a career. And it's like, well, that's not that he should have done anything that he did. The guy's a monster, but isn't there a level of like personal responsibility?
There is, but also I got to put myself in like with Harvey Weinstein in particular. Let's take him for, you're an actress, maybe new to Los Angeles. I mean, literally you're an import. You came from Kansas or you came from Pittsburgh or wherever it is you moved here from, and you're working hard and you want to do this. And Harvey Weinstein wants to have a meeting with you. I don't think you even think about anything else. You're not thinking like it's in a hotel room.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
I guess that's how things are done. He's the biggest name in Hollywood.
But I can tell you, and she wouldn't want me to say her name, but a friend of mine's an Academy Award winning actress who said to me, she knew he would say, come to my, and she's like, fuck you.
Yeah, no. There's definitely situations where I'm guaranteeing women were aware of it, called him on it, and didn't do it. I'm definitely sure there was situations where women were aware of it.
I'm not defending him in the least.
No. I just think like it is strange. I do think there's something strange when we are supposed to be in an era. I'm supporting you and I back you up on this because you're not in any way saying what Harvey Weinstein did is acceptable in any way. Him, Les Moonves, and probably Cosby, where it's like science fiction gross, you would do something like that.
Yeah.
But we're in a place where we're being told we have to respect women, and women are as good, if not better, than men in every way.
Right.
But they can't be held accountable for the decisions that they make in this narrow circumstance. That's very strange.
Okay. Yeah. And I also think like the movement was totally exclusive. It was all about women. When I said, I do a joke about it on stage, I'm like, what about the Catholic Church? What about prison? What about like sexual harassment and assault can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
why not make the movement say, hey, we're going to try to end sexual harassment through people using their power in the workplace or whatever. Not just men, but because I've had it happen so many times.
But you would also have to admit, I'm sure it's just
the argument is
immensely more common for powerful men to manipulate.
Yes, and the fact that there's a physicality of it, where the man can overpower a woman 9 times out of 10,
right.
And the woman is,
like I was thinking about it, like it's just even just the sexualization of everything. Yeah. If you're a straight woman, you're really like, it sucks because you and I are men who we've admitted we can control it. We've never done anything to breach like the respect of a woman, but we're fucking disgusting, horny pigs.
Disgusting.
Every time I'm at jujitsu and I'm training, there was this one time where, like, for a good 2-month span, this girl came in and she would train and she was just so fucking hot.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was just this weird thing. And I'm thinking, like, I go to jujitsu, I don't have to worry about anything. Even if there's a gay guy there, he may find me attractive. It's like, okay, well, we're just doing jujitsu. This girl has no idea that she's essentially like a lamb rolling with a tiger. You know, I'm like, it's so fucking hot.
But that, and I've talked about this on stage. It's part of our human nature.
It is.
It's our, I tried to write a show about it years ago called What Women Don't Want to Hear. And I watched all these like mating rituals of all the animals and basically saying that we're the highest of species, we're the apex predator, but we still have all these innate tendencies of male and female. Like the area of sexual pursuit in a man's brain is bigger than a woman's.
Yeah.
Like we both have areas of sexual pursuit. Ours is huge. Theirs is tiny. They have a huge area of emotional memory. They have a huge area of emotional memory. We have a very small. So our brains are like, comparable, but they are not.
They function differently.
Yes.
And hormonally, I don't think, and I could say this with a lot of confidence because I've been someone who's manipulated my hormones greatly.
Yeah.
Women need to understand. They need to understand that the drastic differences between men and women hormonally makes a huge difference psychologically and emotionally. It's not just about bigger muscles, thicker bones. Chaz Bono, I got a chance through Dancing with the Stars to be relatively friendly with him. And he was very open with me. He said, I have a whole new take on, and I feel so much sorry. So I feel kind of sorry for the guys that I gave shit to when I was a woman, because as soon as I started getting testosterone pumped in me, I was a fucking disgusting horn dog. All I thought about was sex.
Interesting.
I would stare at women's tits and not even like, I'd be like, oh, sorry. Like,
I wish that could be talked about more or understood by women, because like I feel sorry for women with oxytocin and how that's released in their brain. That's why you and I were able to do what we did, because you have sex with a girl, she has an orgasm, and all of a sudden she goes from liking you to being obsessed with you.
Right.
And she doesn't even know why, but it's because a hormone's been released. And she's like, I didn't even like this guy. And I thought we were just.
Well, and think about it evolutionary wise. Like, then you're accepting this man to reproduce with you. You and I can immediately go find another woman and impregnate them. Like so emotionally we have an orgasm and it's like, all right,
but I
care about you so much less.
This is what I'm glad we're having this discussion. This was never discussed during the Me Too time. It was never, nobody ever said, hey, scientifically, like biologically, we're different.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's not justifying any of the behavior. It's saying, let's get to the bottom of it. And this is why men traditionally have been this way. And look, we've evolved and we're getting better as humans.
And like, I think here's my take on it is that was the biggest mistake of the Me Too movement. And I think a little bit of it can be the trans rights movement has pushed this narrative a lot, is that we're totally the same.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as gender. And it's like, whoa. Men have traditionally, especially in this country, been in power. Women have definitely been abused and have been discriminated against.
Sure.
And because of that, the power structure, for the most part, there's women CEOs. Obviously, there's women.
Sure.
I've had more women bosses than male bosses in my line of work, but for the most part, we all know.
Yeah. Typically,
boss man, employee woman, and that built-in power structure is wrong because men have used that to get what they need sexually far too often, and that needs to be brought to light, and these men need to pay, and that's totally true. But in saying that and in pushing that, there was this idea that, and also anything that's instinctively masculine is wrong and you need to change that. And it's like, well, no.
Yeah.
We're way hornier than you. That's true. You're way more, typically more communicative, and you're more social, and that's genetic. It's different. We are different. But we totally need to examine how we use our masculine ways. We definitely need to take a step back and be more objective about how we treat women, because we are in fact different, and we are more sexually fucking motivated, and that is science, and it should be acknowledged. And I think we all would stand to benefit so much more if there wasn't this whole idea, this erroneous idea, unscientific idea that men and women are totally the same. Totally the same. We're exactly the same. It's like, no. There's masculine energy, there's feminine energy, and both need to be encouraged and enriched.
Yeah.
My daughter is 5 now, but she was in preschool. She was probably like 3, and her preschool did this project where they all had to write a book, quote unquote, but they were 3, so they can't even read. So they had teachers help them
Did our
write.
kids go to the same preschool?
My daughter went to Sunflower.
Oh, okay.
First year.
I thought, my daughter was at Piper. I thought.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought you were.
It's the same kind of, the hippie West Side Beach town.
Yeah.
You know?
They did a really good job with her, though.
I loved her preschool, but they did this project where the kids had to write a book, and then they were going to go to a bookstore and have like their book release party, and it was really this cute thing, like they were real authors. So they write these books, and we go to this bookstore in Santa Monica, and all the parents show up, and they're going to do their book release, and every 100% of the boys, 3-year-old boys, wrote about some type of machine. 100%. Every one of the girls wrote about one of their family members, or something in nature.
You can't tell.
Every kid.
I've got a 5-year-old and he's 8 months old. I've seen the difference. There's no look. We have a lot of her toys still around for him. He picks up the trucks. Mm-hmm. He picks up the cars. He watches things differently than she does. There's things that he's interested in, and you can't tell me.
And so piece of it's culture. Of course, I think there's a lot of us that we push our sons to be football players, and
sure,
but our daughters to be princesses. I get that. But there's a huge genetic component.
There's enough dolls. There's enough dolls lying around here,
right,
and stuff. And the fact that he's picking up drums, and cars, it's like, and there's no encouragement by me. There's none. It's like I just want him to be quiet.
There's some trans individuals that I really respect because they're very open about this, because they have the very unique perspective of being both,
right?
And they're saying like this whole like, first off, Buck Angel. I don't know if you.
I know Buck. Okay. Oh, Buck Angel.
Buck's awesome.
If you don't know Buck Angel, Google Buck Angel. Make sure you turn your Google filter off so you get to see everything. So Buck's
been a man for like 30 years, but he was born a woman, and he's like macho man, buff, hairy chest guy.
He's a porn star.
Yep. And Buck is great because he cuts through all the bullshit. He's like, obviously trans need rights, and they're a greatly discriminated against group. Mm-hmm. But this whole like, there's no such thing as gender. It's like, shut it off, because if there's no such thing as gender, how do you transition?
Yeah, good point.
And he said, when I was a woman, I had a different set of needs and ideals. I am a man now. It's different. It is really, really different. And like I also think that in a way we need to step back from this whole toxic masculinity stuff, where we're attacking anything masculine in hopes of bringing up the feminine. There needs to be more positive focus on enriching the feminine, as opposed to just calling out these guys who are committing crimes, which obviously we need to do and make them. There hasn't been all that much fanfare about like, what do we do to build women up? Mm-hmm. And that's what I think my wife's in-laws are they're Swedish, and they just came to visit from Stockholm. And I go, so hey, how's life? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm just going back to work, because of the baby. She had a baby. Mm-hmm. And I go, oh yeah, how long did you take off? She goes, oh, a year.
Yeah.
I go, what?
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, with pay.
Yeah.
And I go, that's unbelievable. She's like, oh yeah, my husband too. I go, what? Your husband? He said, yeah, he only took 8 months, but you can get paid for up to a year. And I go, your fucking husband does too.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing.
And I just think like, we as Americans, like, that's one thing we could totally work on. Like the nature of child rearing, giving birth. We don't give it enough reverence. We don't treat women with enough respect when it comes to that, especially now that women are in the workforce. We should be like, you're doing something insane.
They have the hardest. My wife, this is something we've totally agreed on, that feminism has done a detriment to women in a sense that there is this thing about women that they have to be everything. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to be everything.
Fuck yeah.
If I had to have a successful career and be the like one that is in charge of the child rearing in our family. Mm-hmm. Like I have got a lot of responsibilities here, but my wife pretty much is the primary, sure. Like she's the one that breastfeeds. She's the one that she raises the children. She's 75%. I'm 25%. If I had to do 75% and do my job, I'd be a failure at both.
Absolutely.
And so there's so much pressure on women to be successful at both of those.
And here's the rub.
It's almost impossible.
It's definitely impossible because this is how it goes. Woman has children, goes on to have a successful career. Everyone, including other women, shit on her for not giving enough time to her family.
Right.
Woman decides to have children and become a housewife and devote her life to her children. Other women shit on her for not being a career motivated woman and being just a housewife. And you're like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so they've done it to themselves because I look at women that are just a mother and I'm like, that's not just a mother. That's
best
awesome.
Job ever. Yeah.
And then I look at women that go, I have decided to opt for not children and I'm doing a career. And I'm like, that's amazing. Whatever. More power to you. Great. I'm both of you. Incredible. I never go, like, look at her. She's got it. Yeah.
It's
women
true.
do that to women.
And here's a perfect example of how society is fucked. On the first day of kindergarten for my daughter, my wife was in Atlanta filming. Drove my wife crazy. Yeah. She couldn't be there for the first day of school. But so be it. My wife has to put food on the table. She's part of the breadwinner in the household too. And she's in Atlanta. I take my daughter to school and I get there for the first day of school. I'm not exaggerating. 20 people asked me where my wife was. And they're like, oh, she must be so sad. She must be so broken up. And I'm like, in my mind, I didn't say, I'm like, where's your husband? All of you are alone. Not one of you thinks that's at all a problem that you're by yourself as a parent. But because I'm a man and my wife didn't show up, she has to fucking be out there earning a living.
Do you think that's a little bit of a dig though for women to make themselves feel better?
Oh, for sure.
Like they were like, she's off. She's got the successful career as an actress. Because of what society's done to them, they don't feel like they're enough. And then they're going, I bet she feels terrible for not.
I mean, I'm sure there's an insecurity to it, but it's just like you and I would never in a million years. Well, I would never be like, where's your husband? Yeah. He's got to be torn up that I'd be like, no, he's at work. It sucks. I'm sure he'd like to be here, but
I just got shit the other day. They said, well, Izzy's graduation's on the 11th. You're going to be there. And I was like, I looked at my book. I go, I'm in Michigan. And they were like, you better figure out a way to be here. And I was like, I have to work. I like, this is my job.
That's so this neighborhood though, because like, trust me, like some guy who's a contractor in Dayton.
Yeah.
Like no one's like, well, you better figure out a way. He's like, well, fucker, I gotta earn a paycheck.
And they made me feel really bad. They're like, you better figure out a way. So you said you've manipulated the testosterone. You've done the
It's been a long time, but I didn't do TRT. I did full on anabolic steroids.
Which ones? Give me what you did.
For a while I was doing always testosterone. Always. Okay. That was a base.
That's the base. Yeah. Right.
But a lot of when I was like leaning out, I'd do a lot of Winstrol, a lot of Anabar.
Winstrol and Anabar are both so I ran track. So those were two big track ones.
Yeah, because those are two anabolics that really significantly improve performance.
Right.
So a lot of athletes are into Winstrol and Anabar. Deca too, when I was bulking up.
Deca's the one that's the one that
feel good.
But that's the one that most guys do, right?
A lot of Deca. It's really common. It's an old school drug. You know, I did Tren for a while, but I didn't like it. Made me feel like flush and hot and irritable.
Okay.
I didn't like Tren at all, but it works. It works really well. I mean, that put on mass quickly, but mostly Deca and test, and then when I want to lean out, it'd be Winstrol and test and Anavar.
So how long did you do it?
Like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like 23, 24 to like 26, 28.
And what do you think it did? Put on a lot of size?
Definitely, but also more importantly, anybody can put on size.
It's the recovery.
Eat a lot and train hard and get a lot of protein. It was that I could maintain muscle mass, if not even gain a little bit of muscle mass while I was losing fat. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
A natural guy can't do that.
Nope.
I'd be leaning out and I'd still be like hitting PRs with,
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's drugs.
And your recovery time was just incredible.
Yeah, and I was also in my early 20s.
Yeah,
so I do 2 days. I'd lift weights. I do like big heavy deadlift sessions and go do Muay Thai right there without having a meal, and I'd be fine. Go home, take a shower, and I'm fine.
Yeah, but I do think that is, what are these things? Those are turkey vultures, I think.
They're such crazy looking birds.
Oh,
I wish I could describe them.
I got to be honest. I don't think I've seen this bird around here.
They look like crows with a Santa Claus beard.
I have never seen that bird around here, so that's new. It's a huge thing in CrossFit. People are getting popped all the time.
Yeah.
And forever, people tried to claim, oh, these guys are health oriented, blah, blah, blah. And there's still like top level guys all claim they don't do it, but it makes everyone suspicious of them.
Yeah.
And my argument is, my stance on the whole thing, which I've stood by because a lot of people ask me about it. I don't care who does and doesn't do it. I think that it's going on because people have gotten caught. I think it does go on. I'm not going to point fingers at who does. However, I think that they're never going to catch them. So they might as well have, just like bodybuilding, a drug division and a no drug division, an all natural division, but the funny part about the all natural, I know guys have done it and they catch guys in that.
They catch a lot of guys. And what I love about this one natural division, I wish I could remember which one it was, but my friend Mike Safay competes in the natural, it's the IFBB natural. That's legitimate blood tested drug testing. Like they're not, when dudes pop in that division, they put them online on blast.
Oh, they should.
This guy popped hot for DECA and SARMs and all this stuff, so I definitely think there's a segment of dudes out there and gals that are in amazing shape and do amazing things physically that are natural. Don't get it twisted. But I think it really would behoove a lot of people out there to know that not only a lot of these CrossFit athletes, professional athletes in different sports, but those guys and gals that you see on screen in the action movies, they're using drugs.
God,
a lot. I know for a fact. I have purchased drugs from the same people that they do.
Yep.
I have trained with their trainers, and trust me, I'm not going to name, but they are using drugs.
I know, and I've got friends that train guys that are. I've got multiple trainer friends that train celebrities, and and they tell you what they do, and it's like, you can't do that in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You can't prep like that in 6 weeks and get like that. And you and I both know from years and years of training what it takes and the amount of food you have to eat to bulk up like that, the amount of what it takes to lean out like that.
Now, I will say though, if you're like a Josh Brolin, that kind of stuff can happen because he was already muscular and athletic he had a, but when you see like and I'm not putting him on blast, but when you see like a Kamal Nanjiani or I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He was goo. Like his body was goo. Now, don't get me wrong. I have to take my hat off. That's an amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have put in immense amounts of work and discipline with his diet, but his body was literally like man-tit goo.
But I have a feeling, knowing Kamal, and I'm not friends with Kamal, I've worked with him a few times. I have a feeling with someone like him, he's such a nerd that he just nerded out on it so bad that he did everything he was supposed to.
Yeah.
And I also think you see Kamal on like Silicon Valley or one of these shows and he looks like a big guy now. Or in the movie, but and in the pictures they took of him, but if you put him next to, any decent sized athlete, you'd be like, oh, he's a
normal man.
He's tiny. Yeah. And it was just, he was so leaned out, which we can all do. I mean, I had diarrhea for 3 weeks and I got down to, my body fat must have been like 4%. I couldn't keep shit in. I was eating, the only thing that would sit in my stomach was like chicken breasts. So I was eating like chicken breasts and that's it. And a piece of sourdough toast. And I got so lean. My wife's like, it's getting creepy. I went down to 155 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was so bad.
That's really, cause you're like 6 feet tall.
No, I'm 5'10", but I'm about 175 and I lost like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's all water weight, everything. I was just so grossly lean.
Yeah.
So they can do that, but that like, the strength gains, the build. You see it at Gold's is the cross, or
it's the mecca.
It's the steroid capital of the world.
Tan jack people, you know, it really is the place. There's places, you know, obviously CrossFit gym. If that's your thing, there's different gyms that would be considered like the it place. If you're into powerlifting, you know, West Side Barbell or somewhere like, or Super Training, Mark Bell's gym.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just being jacked and tan,
yeah,
I'm working out at the Mecca, you know, and
the Mecca.
Yeah.
And I remember I was there one day because I used to work out there, and my buddy points at this guy on the wall who's doing some kind of weird deadlift or something where, there's plates involved, or not plates, like the staff.
It looks like a dolly.
Yeah. And my buddy goes, see that guy? And my buddy was a trainer and everything. He goes, see that guy right there? He's like world champion. I go, yeah. He goes, there he is right there. And he points over and it's this like old crotchety guy. Yeah. And I go, no. And he goes, swear to God, that's him. He goes, that's him. And I go, what? He's not on steroids anymore. he's like, it can do
that though can be remedied. Like a lot of people they do that and they compete and they, whether it be powerlifting or bodybuilding or something. And then they just stop doing everything. Yeah. They stop doing steroids. They stop training. Mm-hmm. If you look at like I saw Dorian Yates the other day, he still looks great. Yeah. He's a muscular 55-year-old man. You know, he's not Dorian Yates.
He comes in there.
Yeah. Well, Arnold comes a lot. Arnold comes
a couple
times a week. Yeah.
Is Arnold really a vegan?
I don't know.
I heard he's big. He was involved in the Game Changer thing.
But see, here's my problem with it is that makes a lot of sense. Arnold had heart transplant surgery. You know, like,
I didn't know that.
It's people get too obsessive about dieting and like joining teams when it comes to diet.
Yeah.
Plant-based diet makes a lot of sense for someone with coronary problems. Sure. It doesn't necessarily mean that not eating meat is the optimum way to go. It just means that for that, same with, diabetics probably do really well on a ketogenic diet.
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for everyone.
Right. I agree with you completely. And people are too dogmatic about it. So many people. And I'm like, relax. Yeah. Relax. Like I listened to the Chris Kresser debate and I was like, I felt like I was on the meat eater side because I do eat a lot of meat, but I had to say to myself, if I hear something that pushes me over to the other side, I'm welcome to it. You know, like I want to hear the truth and the reality, and I always want to do what's best for my health. I'm going to have difficulty stopping eating meat. But if they said to me, red meat is so bad for you, and they could prove it to me, and that you should only be eating fish and chicken or what, I'd be like, I think I can go to pescatarian. Like I would do it for my health.
Yeah.
I'm not so dogmatic about it. I really still do believe that, you know, for what I want to do in life, it takes a lot of protein, and
I'm much more balanced. I I have the same problem with the carnivore people as I do. Oh, yeah. Even though I'm a big meat eater, and I'm almost an evangelist for the idea of animal meat. Yeah. But I've the same level of problem with carnivore as I do with veganism is that in order to prove your point, you have to cherry pick and distort a whole bunch of stuff. And it's like, it's not worth it. I agree. Meat's really good. I agree. There can be a lot of benefits to a plant-based diet. You don't have to like go crazy. Like with this guy ate beet juice and he increased his leg press like 18% or something like that. I was like, do you understand if that was real, there would be no beets because the Soviet Union and China would have bought all beets and fucking marketed. Like that's an insane that's the most performance enhancing drug that's ever existed.
Everybody I know loves beets though now.
I agree. I mean, and I'm sure they increase nitric oxide and you get a little benefit, but the Game Changers was saying some shit where you're like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Conor McGregor lost to Nate Diaz because Nate's a vegan. Shut the fuck up.
That was insane. Yeah. That side of the argument, or even but it does a very good job persuading people. And like you said, I think it's the same way where you hear like religious people and atheists. Yeah. And atheism can be a religion too. Yeah. When people get so dogmatic about it, and it's like, just calm the fuck down.
I think honestly, unless you are their parent, just stop caring about what other people do. I don't give a shit.
All right, back to steroids. If you were doing CrossFit, you want to be a top level CrossFitter, what steroid would you do?
Oh, if I wanted to be a top level, absolutely. If I was a male, testosterone for sure.
Right.
Some not necessarily huge amounts, but 200 milligrams a week for sure.
Injecting that.
What's that?
Injecting that. Yeah. Not cream or anything.
No, I've heard a lot of good things about like the bioidentical creams and stuff. Right. I just don't have no experience with it. So, and injecting it's so cheap and safe. Like I don't see any. And then probably EPO.
Yeah,
would
that's
be
what
a
I
big
thought.
One because like anything that would increase your work capacity.
Right.
Because very little about CrossFit is just like 1 rep max, you know,
Right.
or like even the strength endurance stuff, you're still tapping into such anaerobic
Right.
activity. Like I would be more worried about
It's an endurance sport.
I'd be more worried about my endurance. And so like I jack up my test, I jack up probably growth hormone if money's not an issue, and then EPO.
I was just recommended growth hormone I was having chondromalacia in my knees from doing this long run. And I was like trying everything to fix them. And they were like, why don't you do just a cycle of growth hormone? And I was like, well, never thought of that.
Yeah. Well, because it's illegal, and then I'd have to get a prescription. And
Well, that's what they said. They go, do you know a functional fitness person or functional doctor that can, functional medicine doctor that can prescribe you? And I was like, I'm sure I could go to one.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah,
you're too healthy.
Yeah.
You really but you used to be different 10 years ago. You could go in, you should be 40 or be 38 and be like, I need growth hormone. Okay.
They don't do it anymore?
No.
Really?
No. Hormone replacement you could do. I guarantee you could probably get a testosterone hormone replacement. But it's not the same. Growth hormone used to be so easy to get.
Were you getting your testosterone like off the street, or were you getting it from a doctor?
I was getting it from someone who got it from a doctor, but not in America.
Okay.
In Canada.
And did you feel nervous about putting any of this stuff in you?
Nah.
Because your history of doing drugs, or because because you just went, I know too many people doing it and they're all fine?
Combination. I think because of, first off, if people were at that time were using like the androstenedione and all those pro hormones, I'm like, there's zero research about what the fuck's going on with this. There's millions of pages of conclusive, ample scientific proof that within reasonable doses, testosterone at least, I don't know about some of the anabolics, but testosterone is really healthy. It's really safe. It's really fine. It's totally okay.
So why don't you do it anymore?
I probably will.
Yeah.
I probably will. I'm lucky that because of my lifestyle, I'm not too fucked up for 41.
Sure.
But when I start to get 43, 44, 45 and I can't train as much and I'm starting to feel it, and I'll go get it.
That's where I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's starting to hurt.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it. I'm like, what? The only thing, there are certain side effects, and I look at those and I'm like,
yeah, but the real side effects, they're not health based. The side effects are we're talking TRT now.
Right.
I do not misunderstand me. If you're doing 1,000 milligrams of test a day, if you're IFBB pro, there's serious side effects.
Yeah.
Okay. Like death and liver problems and stuff like that. For 100 milligrams, 150 milligrams a week, which is what a TRT dose is, something like that. The side effects would be like hair loss and acne.
Yeah.
But if you're not genetically prone to hair loss, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, and acne is like, okay. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff you're talking about. You know? So.
Right. Yeah, because there's been so many guys that have gotten popped, and the girls get caught more often than the guys, which I find hysterical. And I don't know if it's just girls don't cheat as well as men. That
I think they just need more hormonal help.
Yeah,
it's so much harder to be physically dominant as a woman. It just is.
Yeah.
Look at what a elite level body fat for a man is 5 to 8%.
Yeah.
For women, it's like 12 to 14.
Good point.
It's just women's bodies are working against them much more because of hormone levels and because of genetic, because of reproductive organs. The body tends to hold more fat for warmth, and it's just they're not the same.
What were you spending? How much?
Oh, it wasn't that bad. It was like, this is right when I first got into radio, and I was personal training to get by, and I was making like $21,000 a year.
Yeah.
So, I was probably spending $200 to $250 a month.
So that's one of the arguments that people give about CrossFitters, that they're not using drugs. They go, oh, these guys couldn't afford that. They're not making enough money. The average CrossFitter, on like a trainer's salary, maybe the top 10 guys are making 100,000 plus a year, 100,000 to $1 million a year, whatever they're making. But everybody else, when you're making, $40,000 a year as a trainer or whatever, you can't afford to pay for steroids.
Yeah, I just don't know about that. I was just in Mexico a couple months ago, and you could still get a bottle of test and a bottle of Deca for like $100.
Yeah, see, that's I believe it's more widespread than people even think.
I honestly do not know anything about like pricing, dosages, and stuff about like EPO.
Yeah.
For all I know, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I don't know anything about it.
When I ran track, people were doing the real blood doping back then. That's when they were taking their blood out. And I knew guys that did it, and I'm like, This is the college kids. And I'm like, you're taking your blood out and injecting it back in? Like, that's insane. And I wasn't a distance runner, so I didn't really know those guys. But the ones I did, that's how I found out about it. And I'm like, wow, you guys are into that. And then, but there were guys that I was running with that were beating me that could never beat me before.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are you doing this? Like, I was watching, I'm like, what happened that they developed that I didn't when we got to like these ranks? And then I found out how it happened, and I went, oh, I knew for sure, just in my, like epidemiologically or whatever, but just my experience of that, I beat these guys. You run against the same guys every week.
Right.
And all of a sudden they start surpassing you.
Right.
And you're
That's
like,
got to be hard.
Something's happening but we're training together. So we're doing the same training program. We've got the same coach. You're doing the same stuff afterwards as me. We're going to the weight room at the same. What has happened? Did you never train before?
Right.
And all of a sudden so it started to, and that's how I found out about it. And I went, oh, there's differences there.
A lot of it too, for me at that point in my life, I had just gotten sober, and because you asked about like the dangers and me at least acknowledging them. I grew up in a world where steroid use was so commonplace.
Really?
That it didn't bug me. You know what I'm saying? Like I acknowledge that, I'm probably not the healthiest thing to do.
Where'd you grow up lifting? Like where were you working out?
Pasadena area.
And there was a lot of...
Yeah, because I after I got out of high school and before I moved to the East Coast when my drug use got really bad, when I was just really like drinking and, like be like Coke on the weekend, but I was drinking, partying like a normal 18, 19-year-old. I fell into a crew of like fighters and strength trainers.
Yeah.
Like that was my world, was guys who were giant, jacked, veiny dudes.
Yeah.
And this is the late 90s where it wasn't like that pervasive. You know, like we were, it was a fringe thing, And I just, all these dudes I knew, they all used steroids and it didn't, and some of them were cops and attorneys and stuff. It wasn't like, these weren't bums, that just lived in the gym. These were really accomplished guys that I kind of looked up to too,
Yeah, because see, to you, to so many people, it seems taboo.
Yeah.
And it seems so crazy. Like you put a needle into yourself. I had to use blood thinners once when I broke my ankle and I had to fly, and they were like, don't fly without taking a blood thinner or you could get an embolism. So I injected myself, and it was the first time I ever put a needle in myself, and I went, oh, that was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. And I can't believe, people go, I can't believe people do heroin. I can't believe they put a needle. I'm like, put a needle in yourself. You'll see it's the easiest thing to do.
Intravenous is a little more gnarly
than
intermuscular, but you're right. I mean, there's a weird taboo around it that once you do it, you're like, oh. So. But there's some spots where I started pinning myself where like that really hurt. Especially like the testosterones a lot of time, the enanthate and the cypionate, they're really oily. Yeah. Really thick oil, so you have to use a bigger gauge. And I would start like pinning my delts and stuff, and like that, it hurt. It hurt.
Does it help to put it in that direct muscle that you want to grow?
Old school bodybuilders say that. They say that there can be like spot growth. From like, I never noticed really a difference. Yeah. It's just my butt and my thighs got too poked. They were too raw. I eventually had to start finding new places.
Because how often did you have to?
Pretty much every day. Towards the time where I'd be like 3 or 4 weeks away from a competition, I was pitting myself every day.
Were you doing bodybuilding or powerlifting competitions?
Bodybuilding.
Okay. You did it? You put the Speedo on and got out there?
Yeah.
Can you post those pictures, please?
If I could find them, yeah, for sure.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I got to see that.
I was so jacked. I was so lean, too.
So tan?
Yeah, so tan. Like I had peanut butter all over my body. Because I'm tan to begin with. I'm like a pretty dark guy to begin with, So
but it's amazing how whatever they put on to make them.
It's just self-tanner, but it's like it's a ridiculous color. It's like Gene Simmons' hair. Like no one's skin has ever looked like that. Not even a black guy has ever looked like that.
Never. It's hilarious. What's your best deadlift?
In my life or right now?
Best ever and right now.
560. That's best ever.
Okay.
And that was at 170 pounds.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's... Yeah. Was that while you were juicing? Or,
yeah.
That's still pretty
towards the end,
strong.
though, I have to say I wasn't like geeked on juice at that point, but right. I was supplementing. Yeah.
Yeah, but my argument with that sometimes too, not to make you feel... I feel like you can make all these gains using steroids. Your muscle has a memory. Your muscle nerves basically have memory because of the myelin, the way they get wrapped, and you're neuromuscularly able to do these certain things that then when you are off the juice and you start working out, you're able to get to these things that you maybe not could have done.
Yeah, and see, there's a skill to it too. I mean, people don't. It's like if a guy played high college baseball and then he didn't play at all for 20 years and then went to the batting cage at 40, he'd be a lot better than someone who never played baseball. It's literally, and the same thing goes with my deadlift. Like right now, I'm not breaking any of my personal records, but I could go pull 500 right now.
Could you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so much weight.
Yeah.
What's your bench?
Right now, I just PR'd my bench recently. Really? It was like 340.
Wow. Yeah.
But that's,
do you do strict? I mean, is that
right? Powerlifting style,
Yeah, but because some of the power lifts, there's all kinds of different rules, and I see the guys that'll put the like wood paddle, and then they only bring it down.
Well, and there's raw, and there's the benching suits, which makes a huge difference. I mean, that's a massive difference. Don't get me wrong.
How does the suit work?
It literally constricts your body to be like I'm putting my shoulders forward, like I'm hunching, like I'm in terrible posture position, and it forces you to do that so that when you pull your arms back to bench, it's like loading a bow. So there's huge tension.
Sure.
And when you go to push, it like helps you explode forward.
So that seems cheating.
It is essentially, but that's why there's a big clear line between raw powerlifting records and suited. Like geared.
By the way,
we
might get the river.
The flood.
This looks like flash flood kind of amount of.
This is serious rain. This isn't California.
No, it's not happening. It's not happening. I can tell when it starts to happen. It gets like creepy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like diarrhea brown water starts coming down. The last time it happened, I get this phone call from Hunter McIntyre, and he's like, dude, I'm going to Walmart. I'm getting every inflatable kind of raft. He goes, I'll be over at your house in like an hour. I go, don't. I go, we'll find some shit around here.
Yeah.
I go, hurry over because it comes and it goes. And
let's get a paddleboard.
So we got out my foamy and a boogie board.
Nice.
And next thing you know, like all these guys from the neighborhood show up. Everybody's wearing wetsuits, booties, everything. We get in here and we were tied off. We had a rope tied to keep us from going down, and there was a standing wave.
Where does that go to, the ocean?
So this goes all the way down. This is Malibu. This is Cold Creek. It goes down to Malibu Creek. Malibu Creek goes all the way to the ocean, but there's a dam.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody told us, like, be careful, because if you go past this point, you're fucked. So we're like, okay. So we're tying off, and I know there's a bridge. There's one bridge there, then another bridge down there. And I'm like, at one point I just look at Hunter. I'm like, we could get out. And I'm like, let's ride it. Let's see how far we can go. So we just start shooting down the river. And it was like, I've rafted a lot in my life. This was like rafting.
Yeah.
And we're flying.
And you're not in a like well-constructed raft. You're
not at all.
Sketchville.
And we're hitting knees and stuff off there. But there were a couple moments of like, I hope at this bend I'm able to get out, because if I'm not, we might end up down at the dam.
That's not that game for me.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
That shit scares me.
Yeah. It's not going to happen, though, right now. But I better close that door. This was... we went even longer than I thought we would.
I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm glad. I could talk to you for hours, always.
Yeah, man, I love talking to you. I'm always happy to talk to you.
You're one of the best.
On the air and off the air.
What is the show you're doing now, your podcast?
Mikey Likes You. It's very similar to this, in that it's definitely a health and fitness podcast, but it takes into consideration things like mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, and because you and I both agree, I think that's just as important, if not more so, than the sets and reps and the eating.
Yeah.
I definitely like to talk training and I like to talk nutrition, but I've gotten to a place now where not only am I really comfortable with like my physique, but I'm really comfortable with myself, and that wasn't always the case. In fact, quite the opposite was true, and so I just don't want to see people making the same mistakes I did.
Oh, that's great.
Weird insecurities.
That's great. Well, you are also, in this podcasting world, there's not a lot of people that are entertaining and interesting to listen to. So I know that, like, no matter what you're talking about, whatever subject matter, it's always great to listen to you.
Thanks, man.
And I was a huge fan of yours, always listening to you on Loveline, and it was just you and Drew together were incredible, and listening to you. So I can just imagine listening to you in this. And I think the people that listen to the show would really enjoy your show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
So check it out. Mikey likes you. Mikey likes you. And it's on iTunes and
everywhere.
Spotify. And
everywhere.
Are you with Podcast One?
Nope.
Okay. Mikey likes you. Check it out. Your Instagram is?
At Mike Catherwood, and Twitter is the same thing.
At Mike Catherwood and Twitter. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Any TV stuff coming up?
Anything exciting coming up? No. I guess watch my wife on Legacies on CW.
Oh, is that the show she's on now? Yeah, she's great. So you want to tell them your wife so they know who she is?
Bianca Kylik.
I didn't know if you wanted to.
You probably know her the best from Rules of Engagement, which we still receive.
I almost said Just Shoot Me. I meant Rules of Engagement.
No, it's the other David Spade show. We still receive all the syndication checks from that, so thank you. My wife is Bianca Kylik, and she's the best. I love her so much.
Yeah. So. Well, thanks for listening, and that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, man.
Well, guys, thanks for listening to that episode. I'd like to thank Watify and O2 Recovery, drinko2.com. Thanks for supporting the show. Go to Patreon, patreon.com/Wadcast Podcast or wadcastpodcast.com/Patreon to help us out and be very supportive of the show. You can always go to Apple, iTunes, and rate, review, and comment. That really helps the show, helps us in the ratings. Give us a review, give us 5 stars. Do it. And most importantly, stay safe, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Keep healthy. Keep your immune system up. Wash your hands. Do some social distancing. These are some weird times, and I want to know that you're all safe and healthy. So, take your vitamin C, take your vitamins, eat well, and don't shake hands and wash your hands a lot. Okay? I care about you guys. All right?